Good afternoon, my people. What is going on, Wealth Our Way Nation? It is your main man, Charles Tank Harris, the founder and chief visionary officer of the financial literacy platform Wealth Our Way, where our motto is wealth is not only for the wealthy. I welcome each and every one of you to episode 148, Elon Musk and Twitter, part 2. But before we get into any of that, let me practice the attitude of gratitude and say thank you, thank you, thank you to each and every one of you who are here with me as I stream live across the Wealth Our Way Facebook page and the Wealth Our Way Nation YouTube page. I also want to give the Wild Nation salute to every member of Wealth Our Way Nation who watches the program pre-recorded overnight, over the weekend, wherever they can squeeze 15 minutes of financial literacy in. And then last but not least, the heartfelt, how are you, to the good folks on the Life 101 platform who listen to the audio recording of this very here program. Now, although I come to you as always with a smile on my face, I have a heavy heart today, and I'd like to take a moment of silence to pass condolences to my good friend of the program, my brother, Devlin McConaughey lost his father yesterday, Rick McConaughey. I want to take a moment of silence for Rick McConaughey. I appreciate that. What I'll tell you is this. Most of you know my story. I grew up and still to this day never had and don't have a relationship with my father. It has affected me in many ways, negative and positive. One of the most positive ways that it has affected me is that I have vowed to be a steadying, loving force in my children's life. One of the other things that it has affected me in a positive way is I have always sought out people in my life, males in particular in my life, who have good relationships with their fathers. And through osmosis, I've been able to benefit from fatherly advice, fatherly love, fatherly expressions of just happiness from seeing my friends who have good relationships with their dad. Devlin's dad, Rick, by far is at the top of the list. You have all heard me use the quote that it's okay to have a tiger as a pet. Just never forget that it's a tiger. That is a Rick McConaughey special. That is his stuff. So his language will always be promoted by me, through me, and he will live on. And Devlin, Miss Penny, Bree, Jessica, the girls, you guys are all in my prayers and thoughts, and just holler at your boy if you need me. With that being said, I also have to talk about, before we get into Elon Musk and Twitter some more, last night on the Financial Power Hour. It was pure fire. Fire to the point where, I'm getting a lot of requests and suggestions that we have some type of consistent, recurring, relationship-driven money show. Now, I don't want to turn the Financial Power Hour into a love platform, because that wasn't its intent, but I am definitely hard at work with the team to figure out how we can do something on a recurring basis that focuses on love, money, the intersection of, marriage and money, dating and money, love and life, all of those good things, because the feedback that I'm getting on that program, it was our number one YouTube program. Oh, speaking of which, I want to offer an apology to any and everyone who tried to watch the program on the Wealth Our Way page last night. It appears we did not activate the link between StreamYard and Wealth Our Way last night, and as a result, it was not broadcast across the Wealth Our Way page, but it lives in infamy on the YouTube Wealth Our Way network page. So shameless plug for the YouTube page. Please subscribe to the Wealth Our Way network YouTube page and watch last night's episode on the do's and detriments of dating under the cost of love. So now let's get into Elon Musk and Twitter. So you have probably heard me say on multiple occasions, or if you know me personally, I do not watch the news, which is funny because I am now, for all intents and purposes, part of, I guess, the media industry on the financial side. I convey financial information across the media, making me part of the media. I just have never cared for the news. Growing up, the news was always murder, fire, just something bad. Until sports or weather came on, I never cared for the news. With that being said, I have had to research this whole transaction between Elon Musk and Twitter to be able to convey to you both facts and opinions that are grounded in some sort of qualified reference. What I have learned is that the biggest debate on what's going on is how Elon Musk will, quote unquote, use Twitter. Now, let's be clear. Twitter is a media company. It's a social media platform where people spread thoughts, opinions, facts, fiction, everything. It's a media platform. There is a lot of concern, a lot of quote unquote fear that in the wrong hands, a media platform could be dangerous. Well, let's slow down and pause and pump our brakes for a minute. Rich people have been owning media platforms since the beginning of time. One of the most famous acquisitions of a media company during my upbringing and schooling was Rupert Murdoch's acquisition of, just that quick. Rupert Murdoch bought, and now we have Fox News on it. I can't even think what he bought. So, you can tell this is live. I didn't have notes on it. I was all prepared to talk about Rupert Murdoch's acquisition of a media company that now conveys strong political right-wing views because Rupert Murdoch is a staunch Republican. So we have Ted Turner, Time Warner Cable, TBS, TNT. We have always had wealthy people who have owned media companies. So Elon Musk owning Twitter is no different. If I can just quickly eat the words I just said, it is actually a little different. But it's a little different in the positive, not a little different in the negative. So when you have Ted Turner owning Time Warner Cable, TNT, TBS, and when you have Rupert Murdoch owning Fox News, you have one person at the head of a media company that puts out fixed content and can control the reporters, that can control the cameras, that can control what gets covered. Elon Musk owning Twitter, it's a social media platform. So whereas he can slant who can talk, he can silence those he doesn't want to hear from, he can penalize those and promote others. At the end of the day, the reporters on a social media platform are you and me. So there's a lot more openness of thought when you have a social media platform, because the programming is not necessarily created from the top. The dissemination and distribution of it may be more controlled, but it's not more created. The problem that I am hearing about Twitter, and I am not a Twitter guy at all. We have a Twitter account at Wealth Our Way. I do believe Charles Tank Harris has a Twitter account as well. And I can never tell you if anything's ever been posted on either one. If it has, it's been by the staff. I hear that Twitter is a cesspool of information. There's a lot of racism. There's a lot of homophobic content. There's a lot of white supremacy. There is just so much negativity on Twitter because people, and that's unfortunately what we really have to talk about, people have varying hearts. And when given the opportunity to express yourself and coupling that with the protection that the internet provides you, sometimes anonymity, sometimes and most all the time distance from people who can hear your message, you will get people's truest, most darkest versions of themselves being expressed. The fact that Elon Musk has repeatedly said he wants to promote free speech has led the majority of kind-hearted people to think that hate speech will be further promoted on Twitter. There is a big concern over that. Now, here's where I go back to the fact that I don't watch the news. I never knew this was a thing on Twitter. Why do I bring this up? I don't bring this up to show my ignorance or to show my reclusiveness. I bring this up to show you one thing. You are in control of the media you receive. I didn't know that they were on Twitter using the N word and the F word and all these other things because I don't go on Twitter. I choose not to see it. And we can choose not to see anything we don't want to see. So The number of people who are freaking out because Elon Musk has control of Twitter. Now, here's a whole nother thing. I know a lot of people who own Teslas, love the cars they do, and people who support Elon Musk and think he's one of the greatest capitalists to ever live. And I grossly understated and misrepresented what Elon Musk's net worth was when we were talking about his $44 billion purchase of Twitter. And I was saying, yeah, I think he's worth about that much, a little bit more. This man's worth 240 some billion dollars, which is just crazy. And kudos to anyone who can accumulate that much wealth. I'm a capitalist. I believe we should be able to make as much money as we're capable of making. So I'm not one of those people who thinks that he's wrong for being as rich as he can be. I don't know Elon Musk. I now know what he looks like because his face is all over the internet, but I don't know him as a person. What I am seeing through my research on this sale, this acquisition, is that there's a lot of accusations that he has a hostile work environment. There's a lot of accusations that he's not necessarily the most open-minded people when it comes to sexual orientation, he's not the most tolerant person when it comes to racial makeup. And these are things that are all coming out, and people are fearful that he's going to promote these views over Twitter, or more importantly, allow the people who use Twitter to be more boisterous on these topics. You can't support free speech and only support the part of free speech that you like. I must say that. As a member of a so-called minority class in this country and on this planet, yeah, I don't like seeing someone who doesn't mean it in a rap verse using the N-word and using it defamatory. But it's someone's free right to say. I mean, hate speech is still speech. Now, what we can do is we can speak back, and we can speak back with our dollars. That is what I am always teaching on Wealth Our Way and on this platform, that we, as a consumer base, we control what gets bought. We control what gets subscribed to. So my brother Dele is telling me Elon Musk is South African and grew up during apartheid. He's a visionary genius, but deeply flawed. I thank you for that input, because once again, I never knew what origin of nation Elon Musk was from. So now I do. The reality is that we all grow up with our personal biases, what our parents, what our I'll give you a quick example. I posted something on my personal Facebook page the other day about a township outside of Philly called, I think it's Fulcroft, PA. And they were showing when the first Black family moved into this particular neighborhood in 1963. The streets were flooded with white people protesting this Black family moving in, throwing bottles at the family and breaking car windows and using the N-word. And I said to myself, that was 1963. I'm born in 1970. So these are people who were 7 years before me, adults. Their kids are the people I play with when I grew up. Our kids are grandkids together. If they felt that hate, what do you think their kids and their grandkids felt? This is not that far removed. Elon Musk, if he is a hate monger, which I don't know personally whether he is or isn't, it's something that we live with in this country, but we have the right to choose to not support him. So if you don't like who Elon Musk is as a person, but you're driving a Tesla, you are really conflicted. You're speaking ill to your own belief system. If you're buying buying Tesla stock or shorting it or trying to make a profit off of someone who you think hates you, you got to rethink what you're doing financially. That is what this platform is all about, teaching you how to speak with your wallet, teaching you how to speak with your purchases, with everything that you do, and raising up a community of people of all colors, of all sexual orientations, all religious preferences, to combine for positivity. So I wanted to just put the whole Elon Musk Twitter thing to bed by saying, fear not that another rich person owns a media company. Fear that you are not being the change you want to see in the world. Do better and surround yourself by people who think like you and promote positivity everywhere you go. Make sure you go on YouTube and check out last night's Financial Power Hour. It was fire. You will enjoy it, I promise. Have a great weekend. I'm looking forward to next week. And just remember, always, every day, Wealth is not only for the wealthy. You guys take care and have a great weekend.